go on Facebook too, right?
Yeah, she can go on Everett Winchester at Gmail. I mean, Everett Winchester. She can look me up there too.
All right, I told everybody Truth and Power on Facebook.
That's good too.
I'll watch it later.
Welcome to Real Truth and Power Live. We'll be starting in 2 minutes. I got a special guest of my co-host, Mr. James Richardson. We'll be getting it in. Come on into the building, family, as usual. We'll be starting in 1 minute. Welcome to Real Truth and Power Live, where we provide powerful content to uplift the black community with health, wealth, and knowledge of self. All right. Welcome to Real Truth and Power, where we provide powerful content to uplift the black community with health, wealth, and knowledge of self. I am your host, Everett Winchester. We have a phenomenal show today. I am very, very, very excited. We have my brother James Richardson, who I'll be introducing in a minute, and I'm very excited. We got a phenomenal and a topic that we got to talk about. It's very important that we talk about these crazy, and tough topics so we can deal with them as a black community. So before I bring him in, let me play this intro and we can get it going. All right, let me introduce my guest and bring him into the fold. You there, brother James?
Hey. How you feeling out there today, man?
I'm feeling like a champion, 10 feet tall. My spirits are better than great. I'm bulletproof. Don't ask me where I got that from, my brother. Don't ask me where I got that from. But I wanted to talk to you. I know you had some phenomenal topics you wanted to bring to the discussion, and I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was very important. It's the Stop Snitching code destroying the black community. So I'm going to let you go in and talk a little bit about how you feel about Stop Snitching and snitching in general.
Well, growing up, man, snitching was always, if you and I were involved in some type of crime or deviant behavior and I got caught, then I dropped your name. That was snitching.
Right.
Your neighborhood watch and, you just turning in people, man, for, basically destroying the community, man. That was never really seen as being snitching. I think that we've gotten to a point now where, cats feel as though they should have la carte blanche, to run through the neighborhood, and it's like a cancer, man. When you tell people, oh, you can't say this or you can't say that, or you
there, my brother? I think I lost you, brother James.
On and so forth, after a while, man, it starts to take a toll on our community, man.
Now, I lost you on that last part right before you said it takes a toll on our community. You want to repeat that last part?
Oh yeah, it runs through the community like a cancer, man. And it's destroying. It's absolutely destroying the communities.
Right. So let me go back. Explain what is your definition of the word snitch? What is your definition?
For me, snitching is, like I said, if you and I are both involved in some type of crime, and one of us get caught and then tell on the other person, that's snitching. Now, if I see you actually being robbed and I call the police and I point out, the people that did it, I don't consider that snitching.
All right, so let me
But
ask you this. Let me ask you this, my brother. I am an old lady. In fact, no, I'm a young man. Brothers are selling drugs right in front of my house. I call the police. Is that snitching?
nah.
Okay. Now, me and my homeboy, we rob a bank. I get caught. And then I say, hey, you reduce the sentence. I'll tell you who's with me. Is that snitching?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I know there's levels to this. I want to make sure that, we get all the levels down because I want to make sure we break it down properly. So, as we talk about that, give me some good examples of a person that would tell and explain why the code has been, the code is different now. Explain to me why the code of snitching isn't the same as it used to be.
I'll give you this. I'm looking up, did research on advocacy groups. And out of 29 different advocacy groups, the number one way to stop the crime that's being reported, to stop the crime against people, was to actually report the crime. So when we're talking about domestic abuse, child abuse, elder abuse, rape, abduction, discrimination, bullying, identity theft, harassment, stalking, fraud. I mean, the list goes on. But these are the major groups that actually have advocacy groups, to help the victim. The first thing that the advocacy group promotes is you have to report the crime. Because if you don't report the crime, then there's no way that it can stop. So why is it that in poor or or predominantly black or minority communities, that the person reporting the crime is all of a sudden clowned, or these are the people that are seen as the problem, when they're the ones that's actually protecting the community, because they're the ones that are trying to clean the community of this type of behavior. The community needs to protect them because what they're doing is actually a protection to the community.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and we've gotten to the point where that's been flipped around. You and I are about the same age, so when we were growing up, you do something, you out there throwing rocks at the cars, or you done stole candy out the candy store, or what have you, and your neighbor find you, or your neighbor, or your uncle, or an older guy in the street, he may beat your tail, send you home, and then go and tell your parents. Now
right.
All of a sudden it's nah, man, you got to mind your business. You know what I mean? You don't know me. You don't know this. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come and get you. Blah 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 blah. Everything has changed. So now we protect the criminal. We no longer protect the victim. Now we protect the criminal.
Now, how can that change? Because what we're having is a twofold discussion. We're having a discussion where we're saying snitching is not telling on a crime. If it's not, snitching is telling if I'm involved in a crime with you, correct?
Correct.
But if you do a crime to me, I'm a regular citizen, and I call the police, that's not snitching. If you're doing a crime that I don't agree with, that's not snitching. So what's happening? Right. Mm-hmm. I'm a victim. So what happens to the victims when they go and they want to tell and they're being called snitching? How do we change that mentality? Because, and before you say that, I want you to break it down, because as we're looking at it, as we're looking at this thing, it goes in the layers. So if I snitch, if I tell that somebody's selling drugs on my block, somebody's going to come after me. The community isn't going to protect me. I'm labeled a snitch, when in fact you're saying I'm not a snitch, I'm a victim.
The very first thing is the hardest thing ever to do is to change the mentality of the people around you. That's going to be the hardest. That's going to be the biggest struggle. Whether it's, your family or your neighbor, is to change that mentality. And so many times, and we've seen it, time and time again, community activists burn out, you know what I mean, very quickly because of the lack of support within that community. But what we have is a mentality that's become generational, unfortunately. And it starts in the home, man. Statistics show that if you are brought up in a single family home with a parent that did not graduate high school, then you have like 60-70% chance of, you know what I mean, never leaving that neighborhood, man. Never leaving that neighborhood. So if that neighborhood is teaching you and you're taught and you're trained, you know, or you don't say this or you don't say that, or all because of fear. And it's the same thing, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I mean, because this very same mentality is used not only, you know what I mean, by criminals in poor communities, it's also used, you know what I mean, in your police force. It's also used in your military. When something happens and something goes wrong, you know what I mean? You see a fellow police officer, you see a fellow Marine, you see a fellow Ranger doing something that they're not supposed to do. The first thing they do is tell you,
right,
we'll handle it.
Right. Now, there's levels to this. Because now we're going to talk about the victims that are scared to speak out, or the victims that, or maybe not a victim, but somebody that won't tell. For example, my friend selling drugs, I'm not snitching on him. I know him personally. I'm not going to tell what he's doing. That's my man. He's doing what he has to do to survive, some would say. But also people may say that I'm a punk for not snitching because he's doing something to hurt the community. What would you say to that? You saying I'm wrong for not snitching on my friend? I know he's doing his best to get himself together. Now, if the lady across the street snitches on him, I'm not going to go after that lady. My loyalty goes because he's doing something illegal. I'm not going after that lady to threaten that lady because he's doing something illegal. But I am going to be loyal to my friend. I don't know what happened. Am I wrong? You trying to say that I'm hurting the community for not snitching? Or for not telling? Let me say for not telling.
Okay. In some ways, yes. But drug dealing by itself, you know, I can't really say that drug dealing by itself destroys the community, and maybe people that disagree with me. You know, I don't think that, you know what I mean, that there's some things that are being sold that I don't think are really that detrimental, depending on who they're selling it to. Because we have liquor stores on every corner. That's a destruction. We have drug stores on every corner. That's a destruction. But getting back to your question, imagine this. Let's just take this scenario. And I'm gonna get to you. I'm gonna answer your question.
Okay.
We have cell phones and we have World Star, we have YouTube, we have TikTok. You know, you name it. How many videos do we see or are uploaded every day of someone breaking a crime, doing a crime, or what have you? And if it's a white supremacist, if it's a teacher, if it's a principal, if it's a police officer, you know, cats are, you know, calling up, oh, that I know that cop badge number. I know this, I know that. Oh, that person works over here. They should be fired. They do this, they do that. But the moment it's in your community, it's in your neighborhood, it's the person you grew up with, you known this person your whole life, and they're stomping somebody out. They're taking somebody's life. They're knocking them out. You know what I mean? They're playing the knockout game. They're doing all this other stuff. And you're filming. You're recording it. You put it up on World Star. The police watching World Star. Police watching, you know what I mean, the Facebook. They watching all this. They come right to your community looking, they identifying everybody up in this, you know what I mean? They seeing certain people, you know what I mean, that's in the video and like, well, who is this person? And everybody like, oh, I don't know. But when it's somebody else that's doing these crimes against us, you know what I mean? We'll come up with everything. We got the tag number, we got the badge number. You know, this guy works over here. He needs to be fired, so on and so forth. But when it's the guy that is committing the crimes, that is committing violence within our own communities that you went to school with, all of a sudden, no one knows his name. No one knows where he lives. No one knows this guy. Oh, I've never seen this person a day in my life. And you were standing right next to the guy that was holding the phone, recording the whole thing. Yes, that destroys the community because this guy is allowed to now continue on doing whatever he's doing. And it doesn't matter to you until it's your cousin that's getting stomped out. until it's your brother, until it's your sister, until it's you. Then it matters. Now you want other people to come and, you know what I mean, identify and say like, yeah, I was a witness, I seen it.
Now, I know you had some examples of people that need to start, I would say, reporting crimes and these type of crimes that aren't considered snitching. Give us a couple of examples of, of people that are victims in these days that may need to start telling old ladies or what have you or something like that.
Some of the biggest people, you know what I mean, and some of the biggest threats start at home. Domestic violence. It starts at home. Domestic violence. And in a lot of cases, you see people that are victims of domestic violence that are scared to report crimes. That are scared to come forward. They're scared of backlash to come forward and report the crimes. They're the first ones. Then the next ones would be child abuse. You know what I mean? Think about how many children, man, that now, even now, and this is like the worst time. This is probably like this quarantine has probably got to be like the worst thing that could have ever happened to them. And my hearts go out to them, man. You know what I mean? They're at home with an abusive parent. They're at home with an abusive guardian. They don't have school to escape to anymore. You know? Right. They don't have an outlet for somebody, you know what I mean, to come and even if they did, sometimes, man, the court systems, man, are so twisted, man. They send these children right back into these same environments. So the child becomes scared. The child becomes, you know what I mean, lethargic to even the idea of being able to get out of this situation.
All right.
And then the first ones, the elder abuse.
We're going to take a quick call. And if you do want to call, please, the number's on the screen. This is an important topic that we want to tackle, 877-944-8020. I'm going to take the first caller. See if we can get him in. Hold on one second. Caller 6117. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I appreciate you for calling. Welcome to the Real Truth and Power Live podcast, where we provide powerful information to uplift the community. We are talking about the Stop Snitching Code and how it affects the black community. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts is that you're trying to with the snitching. I was listening earlier, and you were saying things like my best friend is selling drugs. Well, I'm not going to snitch on him.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that, let me tell you something. If your best friend is selling drugs, does he need to be your best friend?
Now hold on real quick, caller. Hold on real quick, because Brother James is on the line and he went through something like that. Brother James, you want to respond to the caller on him saying, and I was using that as an example, by the way, caller, but Brother James, I want you to go.
No, I hear you.
Right. I understand what you're saying. Brother James, give your example of why you would think that wouldn't be a big deal to tell on a drug dealer.
If it's your friend, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard. You know what I mean? But I like your point. You know what I mean? If your friend is a part of the destruction of the community in which you live in, then yes, you should seriously stop and ask yourself, should we be friends? Agree with you 100%, man.
Right. Now, caller, are you still there, caller?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. I want to ask you a question, because I believe that this code, like we said, this code should be changed. It's not the way it's supposed to be, as we were saying. It's supposed to be, if I do a crime and you do a crime with me, I may not tell. That was the Stop Snitching that we grew up on. And now if I do a crime and I penalize you and you tell on me as a victim, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be the one that I violate. You're snitching. What do you think we need to do as a community to protect the victims that are what we call not telling, but are victims and are calling the police? Why is this considered snitching now?
Well, once again, your premise is a little bit askew. Listen, if you enter into a criminal enterprise, let's just say it that way, and your partner or yourself gets caught, and you're looking to wiggle out, of harsh time or long time, and you say, listen, not only do I know who the partner is, but I also know everything else that he's done before. I'll give you him. Now, you can't then turn to that guy and say, hey, that guy's a snitch. That guy's only protecting himself and his own self-interest. And when you see it from that point of view, you can't say, okay, oh man, that guy's a snitch. He's simply living within that criminal environment, and he can't, and it's not something to essentially say, hey, listen, he's a snitch. Let's ostracize.
I got you.
Are you trying to understand the point that I'm trying to make here?
Yes. Before I let you go, caller, let me ask you one thing. Do you feel that we just need to correct everything, and if you're violating a crime, if you're not living righteously, we need to get you out of the community. We need to start cleaning it up by calling the police. Do you think that's where we are at the community?
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. If you're out there, you're destructive force, element within the community. If you can't be rehabilitated, then you need to be essentially taken out of that environment. Because what you're doing now is essentially you're either influencing or you're destroying that environment. You can destroy that environment, or you could influence others to continue to destroy that environment, which is your community. And so those are the options that you essentially have. If you could rehabilitate a person, I'm not just saying through taking to a prison, but like group therapy, things to that effect. If you could do that, that's a positive way of impacting your community. A negative way would be to simply remove that individual from the community in order to essentially start with reinforcing the building blocks of a positive, healthy environment for your children and for the older people, for everyone in general in that community.
Well, I appreciate you for calling, caller. Thank you for calling Real Truth and Power. And please hit that like and subscribe button. Go to YouTube, hit the subscribe and the alert bell, and you can get more information on the calls. And thank you for being a part of this conversation, okay?
Most definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Brother James, that was a phenomenal call. What do you feel about what that caller was saying?
I think I like his idea, man. When you look back at the way the communities were set up pre-segregation, and you had like a bad element within like that community, the brothers would come together and they would, I'm not saying that they would put hands on the guy. First, they'd talk to him, hey, man, you got to stop doing this. You got to straighten this out. To the extent that, they would even offer him, hey, man, my cousin got a job over here. You can come and get some work over here, or why don't you, think about it. They used to look to put that energy somewhere else.
I got you.
So,
let me.
All
right, I was going to take another call, but go ahead.
No, that's The brothers used to come together and talk to the person and try to eliminate that problem or what have you. If it came down to them putting hands on the guy, then then they put hands on the guy, but they protected the community. The community as a whole was more important than the individual.
All right, 9835, you are next in the queue. 7372, you are now live on the Real Truth and Power Show. Let your voice be heard. 7372, how you doing today?
Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm doing well, my brother.
What's going on?
What's going on?
I don't know. I was just listening in, and I was just I was just holding on. I don't really have much of a comment. I was just thinking that it's kind of, you stuck in between a rock and a hard place right now. There's always been a criminal element. America's partially built on crime, so the black community is going to have their own criminal element too. I feel like you're going to have criminals. And I kind of understand the code. I'm not I don't understand the part about if you're a civilian or if you're, into the street life, there should be a divide. There's a separation. It's not snitching if you've been violated by a criminal and you report it to the police. Now, if you're in the criminal life, or if you're, a street dude and you cooperate, then they see that as snitching. But if you're not, if you're just, a regular Joe, a square individual working a regular job and living legally, then and you get violated by a criminal, if you report it to the police, I don't see how that's snitching.
Okay, I got you.
That's my point.
Let me ask you something, caller. And I'm gonna put you in a scenario. As somebody that is a citizen, and you see a murder, somebody shoots somebody, your neighbor. That person looks at you.
Right.
He gives you that look like you better not tell. Would you tell? Now, first of all, you're saying that if you tell, that's not snitching, even though that crime didn't happen to you, correct?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So you calling the police, do you feel that the community would protect you if you called the police?
No.
Okay. Now that's a problem that we have to address. Then you're saying that citizens that are trying to protect and police their own community are not being protected themselves, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So
correct. That's what I meant by being between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So how do we change? Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying individually you gotta, it's a situational thing. If you feel like it's the best thing for you to do, then you do it. If you don't, if you can stay out of it, if that's what you feel you need to do to protect yourself, if it's not worth it for you, you don't do it. Then you don't cooperate or you don't report anything or don't tell what you saw. That's an individual choice.
Brother James,
I witnessed the shooting. and the shooter saw me.
Wow.
Witnessed the shooter. And I did not get involved.
Do you feel bad about not getting involved now, caller? Do you feel like that you let the community down by not telling?
No. I don't think any information I would have gave anyway would have been helpful. Because it wasn't like I was, mentally recording, how they looked or, a description or the car that they drove or a tag number. I just witnessed. I saw the people, and they saw me. They got in, got back in their car and got out of there. I wouldn't have been much help.
Do you think there was a block in your mind that said, I see not, I hear not, I tell not, because the way you were raised, were you psychologically conditioned to look the other way?
Not necessarily. I think it wasn't someone close to me or anybody that I knew. I didn't know any of the parties. So it was more of that. It was somebody I knew that was, that was a part of my family or my circle or anybody I was connected with. It may have been different. It would have been different, most likely. But in this situation, no, I can't say, unfortunately, I can't say that I felt, like I let, the victim down in this situation.
Before I let you go, caller, Brother James, let me have you respond to the caller real quick. The caller said if he didn't know anybody, if he didn't know that person, let me ask you this. Are we as a community, Brother James, could you talk to the caller? Is he right, or should the caller be standing up as a strong black man to protect this community?
I think that at some point as the community, we have to come together to protect each other. And as long as we feel as though we're all just individuals, then that makes it hard. You know what I mean? Divided we stand, you know what I mean? And in that scenario, I mean, that's a very sad scenario, you know what I mean, to see that. But at the same time, I understand where you're coming from. If you're saying that, you know what I mean, you don't remember anything about it, you just seeing the guy get shot, you can't really give any details. unfortunately, man, this goes on, you know what I mean, again and again. And part of the problem is that I understand what you're saying when you're saying you're in a rock and a hard place. So let me give you this. I looked up advocacy groups that fight against violence and everything. They're just in America. Mm-hmm. Advocacy groups took in over $410 billion. Let me say that again. $410 billion. Most of it went for family services, food banks, child services, arts, and things of this nature. I was unable to find anything for witness relocation. I was unable to find anything that said that, you know, if you're able to get like an associate's degree, we can try to get you out of this community. If, you know what I mean, if you step forward and you're a witness to a crime and you feel as though you're threatened, here's a fund. You know what I mean? We've raised money. There's an advocacy group that says we will help protect you. We will get you out of that community as long as you agree to testify. You're safe.
I got you. Well, hold on, brother James. Okay. Caller, I just want to thank you, brother, for calling in, and please stay tuned. If you following us on Facebook or YouTube, hit that like, the share, and the alert. And everybody on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, hit that like. Hit that share if you're on Facebook. 1, 2, 3. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe and the alert. And caller 7372, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you being a part of this important topic for our community. Okay.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
I appreciate you. All right, brother James, I'm going to take another call. I think I lost one of the calls. I'm going to take 0500.
Hey, how y'all doing?
All right, how you doing, my brother?
Good. So the black community, I like to know how you define it. Which community we talking about?
What do you mean by which community, my brother?
Well, I know right now we're talking about the smaller communities, like your regular small neighborhoods. Those communities are destroyed for different reasons than the black community in general. The not snitching for the larger black community has to do more with people not saying that things like Barack Obama didn't really do anything. He was just a regular capitalist. Now, as opposed to a guy who really was doing great things for the black community. Like, when you look at a guy like Trump, he puts in complete criminals with a straight face and tells you all to suck his dick. Wow. He's going to put a guy who hates the EPA. He'll put that guy in charge, and he'll destroy it, and he'll tell y'all, go away, leave me alone. Whereas Barack Obama, no one will say that he didn't do those kind of things. He could have done those kind of things. So the snitching that is destroying us is really about that whole, we don't air our laundry in public. So when people who are like you, who are black like you, aren't doing what they're supposed to do, instead of saying they aren't doing what they're supposed to do, we say he was great. Well, he was black. That was it. He gave hope. But he didn't do the things he's supposed to do. When you get a Marion Bowser in D.C., it doesn't do the things they're supposed to do. So, my last thing is, when we talk about doing what you're supposed to do, I forget which guy it was. He spoke of having a knife. I think it might have been Malcolm X or one of those guys. He said, you stick a knife 9 inches in my back, pulling it out before is not progress.
Now, hold on, caller. Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
Hold on real quick, because you're hitting a lot of points, but I want to ask you something. I go and I break into your mother's house. I beat her up. I take her money. As I'm walking, all of her neighbors see me. I give all of them the eye. I hop in the car. They are saying they're not going to tell. No, snitches get stitches. That's what we say in Baltimore. Snitches get stitches. Are you feeling if one of them tells, are they a snitch? Does that have to do with Barack Obama? Does that have to do with a governor? That's what I'm asking you. Does that have to do with the people in D.C.?
So that was my original point. Is what are we talking about? If we want to keep talking about symptoms, right? The discussion you're having now is about the symptoms. So when the guy gets shot, the blood on his shirt is a symptom of that bullet. But the answer is you got to get that bullet out. You got to patch that hole. You got to stitch things up. If you want to talk about bloody shirts, sure, you're right. Somebody should snitch more. But my point is simply that I don't care. I think that we should definitely snitch. I think the cops should snitch. The bigger discussion is probably what's the blue wall of silence about? That's what's really destroying the neighborhood. The things that destroy small black communities have nothing to do with the people inside the community. They're just the ants inside that ant farm. They have no real agency. The real agency is outside of that community.
Brother James, you want to comment to the caller?
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it comes from the top all the way down. Every single person that has been labeled as a so-called whistleblower under the Trump administration has been fired. When you start talking about like the police force, you know, it's like I said in the very beginning of the call, you know what I mean? Very beginning of the show. If one officer, I've not seen not one video where fellow police officers are watching 1, 2, 3 officers break the law, go beyond, you know what I mean, means necessary and bringing down a suspect or even illegally stopping, arresting, beating up, murdering a citizen. Not one of them has stepped in and said, stop. None of them. But in order for us to get to the point where we say, you know what I mean, you got to clean up, you know what I mean, you got to clean up the police force, you got to clean up this, you got to clean up that, you have to clean your own house first. And with that said, the mentality that goes along with that, and like you said, when you said advocacy, is what I was saying right before you came on. For most of like the community leaders, the people that actually tried to promote, hey man, we got to get these people out of our community. You know how far they usually make it? They usually make it as far as the city council, which is great. Because that's a great place to start, your city council. But the city council usually closes their ears to whatever it is that they have to say. City council is not. The city council is not really doesn't really care, because that brings in money, that brings in revenue for like the police force. That brings in money for revenue that they can say that they're using as other resources, you know what I mean, to broaden the community. The crime goes away, and it's just like, well, why do you need, you know what I mean, so much money for the YMCA? You know what I mean? These kids aren't doing anything. I mean, what do you mean you need to get them off the street? They need crime in order to generate funds for their city. So once you get to the city council and they're not doing what they need to do, the next thing you need to do is start replacing those people on the city council. Not only do you have to start, you know what I mean, changing the hearts and minds of the people that live next to you, but also the ones that live right in your house. And after that, get these people off their council. Get them out of there. Get them out of there. You go there and you bring these issues to them. Why is it, you know what I mean, that this police, you know what I mean, the police that lives in, you know what I mean, there's the guy that's patrolling my area over here, you know what I mean, this dude lives up in Carroll County. He don't live here. You said Marion Bowser. I'll give you another one. I'll give you Marion Barry. You know, everybody likes, it's like, oh, Marion Barry, he smoked crack. But you know what Marion Barry did? Marion Barry said, you want to be a police officer in D.C.? You got to live in D.C. You want to be a firefighter in D.C.? You got to live in D.C. You want to be a social worker in D.C.? You got to live in D.C. You have to live with these same people that you're supposed to be policing. You have to live with these people that you're supposed to be protecting. You have to become one of these people in the community. Then you'll care.
Well, hold on real quick. 9835, you're on the line, but hold up. I'm going to let 0500 close out. 0500, just close out for me real quick. And thank you for calling, by the way, my brother.
Oh, yeah. Hey, no problem. I mean, all of it's true. All of it's true. You definitely should snitch on the lower crimes. But the more important thing is James was saying, when we get guys who are really going to fight for you, like a Bernie Sanders and guys who really are taking on the establishment, that's where real change comes. We could do all this petty snitch on the guys on your street. You should definitely do that. But you also have to call out. We have to get beyond the hero worship. So whenever those guys like Barack Obama, Mary Berry, you should be able to call out the goods and the bad. And then when they do something that's really bad, you have to be able to dismiss them and walk away, because there'll be a better guy. Once we demand better, we'll get better. But you have to demand it from not just on your lower level, but on the upper level. You have to get them, wipe them all out. And when you're just like your preacher, if your preacher touching little kids, you got to call them out and you got to get rid of them. Your uncle touching little kids, you cannot just have these family secrets. You got to call them all out. Call them all out.
Well, I appreciate you for calling, caller.
Everybody else around. Appreciate y'all.
All right, and thank you for calling.
Have a good one now.
You too. All right, if you're just tuning in, I got my brother James Richardson, and he is dropping some knowledge on the real code for snitching. We'll try to take a couple more callers. The line is free, so if you still want to call in, the line is free. We'll stay on for a little while longer. 877-944-8020, 877-944-8020. Brother James, that brother was saying some deep stuff a little bit there. What do you feel about what he was saying? Man. Give a little flow on that.
Oh, man, I agree with him 100%. I agree with him 100%. I mean, at the top, I mean, it's ridiculous. And when you look at, not only people always, people are calling out the Trump administration for putting all like these criminals and everybody, and it's true. He's putting a lot of people in positions that they don't deserve. Positions that most of these people should be in jail. And then the criminal acts that they perform while they're in that position, you know what I mean? It goes unsaid. No one's, somebody might point it out and say something, but no one's going to do anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when you start coming down, like I was saying, like on the state level, where you have right here in the state of Maryland, you have like the representative from, was it Carroll County or was it Caroline County? That was just like made fun of, like the representative from PG County was saying that she represents Niggerville, and she just got reprimanded. Nobody removed her from her office. Nobody removed her from her seat. They was like, "Oh, we're going to give you a reprimand. You keep your job." What kind of, you know what I mean? You're a representative of the people, and you make comments like that, and you're allowed to keep your job? No, that's a problem.
Let me ask you this, because I think the major key is our youth, because I think somewhere down the line it changed from, if you commit a crime against me or anybody else, that's snitching. What do we do to change that output to saying, hey, if you do a crime that's associated in the community, we are all victims? How can we change that to start dropping a new code to protect ourselves? Because we're talking about a movement now. We're talking about uplifting the community and growing economically, mentally, spiritually. So how do we stop this from happening, especially for our young people?
It's funny that you mentioned economics. You know what I mean? Because economics plays a huge role. A huge role in all of this, because as I was saying, when you start looking at education and you start looking at the household dynamics, the studies that I was looking up shows that children before they're even born, if their mother is already living in a household, in what is called a poor environment, on her way to the hospital to have this child, that child's chances of being successful, meaning being able to get out of that environment, to be able to hold down a job and support a family, decreases incredibly. This is before the child is even born. So once you, if what the first thing is, the environment has to change, and the way the environment first changed was through music, man, through music, through arts, through entertainment. And what has happened, an incredible phenomenon has happened in our community. Whereas we had, and it's funny because you and I was sitting here talking before the show started, and I was showing you, you know what I mean, conscious
Right.
music. And we went from a time where, Public Enemy was banned from the radio. You couldn't hear Public Enemy. You couldn't hear Brand Nubian. You couldn't hear anybody that had a message. They may play the instrumental, but we had on Q, you know what I mean? Q93. We had on 95.5. All of this stuff was the no rap ride home. And now it's flooded with it. And all it is about is my Glock. I'm going to shoot this person. I'm a Superman this hoe. We're going to pop bottles. I got this car. I got that. I got this. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot that person. I'm going to shoot I'm going to shoot everybody. You know what I mean? And when we had music that was talking about, nah, man, you got to get an education. You got to take care of your family. You know what I mean? College enrollment soared for black students. It absolutely soared for black students. And we had movies like, you know what I mean, movies showing a positive side of black families. We had TV shows showing a positive side of black families. The image that we show to each other and that we perceive of each other has to change.
Now, Brother James, hold your thought. You froze a little bit, but I hear you fine, but you froze for some reason. But keep going. Go in.
We have to change the image that we have of ourselves is the most important thing, because as long as we continue to see ourselves as nothing, we continue to see ourselves as worthless, then we will continue to take each other's lives and not think anything of it. We will continue to sell each other poison and not think anything of it. We will continue to stop these establishments within our community that kill us and think nothing of it. We will support these establishments within our community that want our money but don't want us in their stores.
All right, I got a caller on the line, Brother James, 9835. Can you hear me, 9835?
Yes, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Go ahead, my brother. How do you feel about the Stop Snitching code? How do you feel it's affecting the community? We talked about it as far as being, Brother James, Lowy, I think, is that your phone, Brother James?
Yeah, that's probably my phone.
Okay, all right. There you good. But caller, talk to me about how you feel about the Stop Snitching code. How do you think the community needs to deal with that?
I feel as though it's either a right or a wrong way of doing something. I feel as though everybody needs to say something. If you don't, then it will still continue. If you don't, if you let it go, if you let the small things go, it will always get bigger. It will get the person will probably do something worse, and it will come to your doorstep.
Now, let me ask you a question. What do you say to those people that are afraid? And I'm not talking, and again, we're establishing this per se. This is snitching. If I do a crime and then you do a crime, I get caught and you tell on me. Right. We consider that snitching.
Absolutely.
But what about the people that are considered snitches that are victims or just regular citizens that don't want any crime in their neighborhood? What do you say to them if they're afraid to speak up? Because that is a big problem in our community. We're not protecting and we are not policing ourselves. What do you say about that?
Well, the thing is, things can happen. It's always a danger when you open your mouth and tell on somebody. It's been happening with the mafia, happened with all types of different nationalities. I can't say, well, all types of people. So it's going to happen, but you have to open your mouth. If you don't, it's going to continue. If you don't snitch on the person that's raping your neighbor and you saw him, he's going to rape another person. So if you don't tell, it's going to happen to somebody you know.
Now, let me ask you a question. There's a crime. Somebody breaks in your house. There's an old lady next door.
Yep.
She is afraid to say something. But you know she saw it. You figured out she was outside or something, and you timed it, and she's scared to say something.
Right.
She could say something to get that criminal to caught right away to get maybe some of your stuff back or give you some kind of resolution for or resolve for this matter. What do you say to her?
Yeah.
Because she might be afraid or nervous. The community doesn't have her back. What do you say to her?
I would say when it happens to you, would you want somebody to actually say something, or do you want them to just say, I didn't see nothing, and walk away? Pretty much, that's where it comes from. If it's not happening to you, you don't care. When it happens to someone, when it happens to you, that's when you want to, oh, what happened? I know you saw something. I know you was there. But until everybody wakes up and not be scared and not be afraid, that's when people are going to actually, that's when it's going to be a stop snitching.
Now, in your community, is there anything that protects the people from, I'm not going to say snitching anymore, because if we'd established citizens and victims, is there anything that protects them so that they can speak up? Is the community tight? What do you say? Who's running the community is what I'm asking, brother. Who's running your community?
Who's running my community? Pretty much, you have to stand up for yourself. Nobody's going to run your community. You have to start. It starts with you. You have to be the one to stand up first, so people can see, oh, okay, he did it. Let me do it. If you don't lead by example, then everybody is just going to do what they do.
All right, before I let you call, Brother James, in 0107, you're in the queue. If you haven't called, you're next. 0107, you're in the queue. And Brother James, you got anything to say to the caller?
Hey, man, I think the caller is incredibly honest, man. And I think that one of the best things, one of the first things that can happen is one of the easiest things that most of us, man, are taught, man, when we're children. And that is speak to each other. You know what I mean? When I moved into like the spot that I'm in now, and it snowed or what have you, went across the street, the older lady across the street, she's struggling with snow, went over and helped. She ain't never talked to me a day since then, but that's how you break the ice, man. And you just speak. I have another neighbor across the street. I don't know his name. He don't know my name. He comes out the house and I see him. We wave. We say hi. A couple of other people, you know what I mean? When they see me, I'm out running or what have you, wave, say hi. Every person that I pass that I know that live in the community, I try my best to speak to them. You know what I mean? So even it doesn't make a difference whether they speak back to me or not. They know that I'm in the community. I know that they're in the community. I've seen their face. And, you know, and it's just breaking the ice, man. And like you said, man, it's like everybody for themselves. But at some point, man, we have to start, you know what I mean? Hi, how you doing? The next time you see them, man, you know what I mean? You see them, you see how them Ravens got beat Sunday? Yeah, man, you know what I mean? Steelers are like that. You know what I mean? So you got to,
easy, caller.
Break the ice and start.
Easy, brother. Easy, brother.
Break the ice.
0107. Hold on, Brother James. I got to stop you. You talking nonsense when you bring up the Ravens. But 0107, you're on the line, 0107.
Hey, peace, brother. This is Brother Mosiah, the Black Wolf.
Brother Mosiah Fit, my man. Talk to me, brother. Hey, brother, I got Brother James Richardson on the line, co-hosting with me today, and we talking about the stop snitching in the community, the code. And we have established that if I do a crime and you do a crime with me, I get caught. And I tell on you, okay, that's a form of snitching because I knew what I was getting myself involved in. But if I violate a community person in the community, that's not snitching. And we need to start protecting our community and policing our community. Go in a little bit on that for me, Brother Mosiah.
Yeah, I think we lost Brother E.
I'm here. Y'all don't hear me?
Brother Everett, we lit.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh yeah, I hear you now.
All right, go ahead, Brother Messiah. Go in.
Well, I just want to say, man, first, I love your platform. It's always powerful, and I see it growing, bro. Keep going. 'Cause
I
I got
appreciate you. No doubt. I appreciate you.
And all the other, yeah, man, all the other brothers and sisters out there that's tuning in. I just want to say, you know, because I walk the streets a lot, and you know, the fact that I'm always, you know, I'm peddling, vending on the streets, Grandma Louise pies. I get to see, you know, the culture on a first-hand experience. You know, I get the front row seat that a lot of people don't get. And you know, one thing I'm just realizing, we don't even got to worry about the stop snitching. Let's just talk about establishing law, order, and some decency off the cuff right there. You know, like if we try to talk about not stop snitching, but we don't want to bring no morals, we don't want to bring no order, you know, we don't want to bring no decency first. In other words, if men, especially us brothers out here that got resources, that got connect, we want to invest. If we not coming to these streets, to these young soldiers who are lost, and not asking them, you know, slowly, gradually letting them become familiar, but sooner or later mandate law, mandate order, mandate decency, then it's that whole stop snitching thing is a joke, because you know it's just very immoral. We living in a very immoral society, and the black community has really lost its morality due to us giving in to the white man's drugs, the white man's poison, the white man's dream, the white man's belief. And that's why we got to start, as men, bringing order to our community. And then we can worry about the snitching thing. We won't have to worry about snitching thing because there'll be a respectability amongst us all.
Brother James, you want to comment on that?
Man, I agree with you 100%, and that, you know what I mean, most of this stuff starts in the home. Give you a you know what I mean, I not to violate anybody's religious beliefs, but to give you a deed from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you kill one man, it's like you've killed all of humanity. If you help one man, it's like you have helped all of humanity. Once we get back to, like the brother said, once we get back to morals and decency, and not only, you know what I mean, you have to, the discipline that you have to give yourself, you have to have that discipline within your home. But these children are 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and they don't even know how they talk to adults like they're an adult. It's a problem. And this thing is generational because it seems to be getting worse. At first, you know what I mean, it was like the teenagers. Oh, man, the teenagers are so bad. But now you have, like, preteens and, you know what I mean, cats that are just barely between toddlers and 10 years old that disrespect you and look at you funny. You know? Like my man said, man, once we get back to moral and decency, then we you know what I mean, to take back like the community, man, then start establishing. But that's what I was saying before, that once before, you know what I mean, you had when the church actually, you know what I mean, was trying to empower the community at one point. They pull a brother to the side, talk to him. Hey, man, you know what I mean? There's an opportunity. You don't have to keep doing this, man. Here, let me give you an opportunity to come and make some legitimate money. You can come over here and work for Brother E. You can come over here and work for this brother. You can come work for this brother. You can get into this, so on and so forth. If that didn't work, then they put their hands on him. That didn't work, man. They made sure that they got that guy out of the community. But they not only that, but they also taught their children to do the same thing.
Brother Messiah, you still there?
Yeah, bro. Can I say something on that?
Yes, yeah. Go ahead.
So look, let's look at it for what it is. The African American needs rescuing. You know what I'm saying? Like, United States is always trying to go to other countries and save people, and they want to send United Nations and stuff like that. But we need a United Nations here for real, because We are behind enemy lines. We so messed up mentally and psychologically. Even when we think we right, we wrong. We want to integrate. We are afraid of going anywhere else because we believe in what the white media tells us about other countries, and we don't think there's no other place better than America. So, we so sick as a people. We need rescuing. That's just flat out. We can't even think that it starts at home. Home has been destroyed. Now, we can't say this is across the map that everybody don't have a good household, but straight up, the African American is the white man's guinea pig, and we need a break. We need a break from this country. We need a break from the culture here, so that we can go back to our natural roots, back to our natural way, back to our natural state, and so that we can heal. Because everything that you see happening right now, every atrocity that the black man and the black woman is creating, it was fed to us, and we are only being a product of our environment today. That's how I feel.
Now, let me ask you something, Brother Mosiah, because you're out in the streets and you know about a lot of movements. You're in the UNIA. Talk about some of these organizations and what they can do to protect some of us citizens, to build a better community where we can, as I can say, change our mentality, so to speak.
Yes, well, the platform has been laid out for us. The UNIA, which Marcus Mosiah Garvey started back in the early 1900s, the Universal Declaration of the Negro people of the world was already established, a mandate to the world, what we would do, the expectations of this government and how we are supposed to be treated as an African people. See, family, we've lost that. You have some organizations now, such as, the Nation of Islam, powerful organization, but everybody is not going to submit to Allah. Everybody is not going to become Islamic followers. Then you got the Hebrew Israelites, strong brothers, but everybody is not going to go through those indoctrinations. See, we have to find the bottom line. The UNIA is the bottom line. The Moorish Americans was a part of it. Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, all give recognition and acknowledgement to what Marcus Garvey started, which is the UNIA. Now, the UNIA already has declarations. It already has a constitution. It already has bylaws. It already has a government structure. It's already internationally recognized and acknowledged, and it really don't matter what your religion is. The only issue is the people have to come together underneath the UNIA. There is land to be claimed in other countries. Acres of land, but the government has neglected the people. So there is currently a government. We have two different UNIAs, which is a problem. And once the people address this, once we all choose our president that's going to serve us the proper way, we have a nation, y'all, that's already set up. So what do I say? What I say is this: build individually, build your small organizations. Do like what the brother is doing right now, Brother Everett. Have your own platform. Real Truth and Power is bringing us information, bringing other brothers and sisters who are doing things that, he can put us out there. Build your platform, stay decent, stay committed, and until that day comes where all brothers and sisters and children, the black man and woman, says we can no longer take this, we must come together, we will all be organized on the front because we'll be disciplined. But right now, the best thing I can say, Brother Everett, is brothers and sisters need to just stay focused in their lane, and one day that day will come when we all shall submit to the Most High, and we all should do the work that we're here to do.
All right, Brother Mosiah, thank you for calling. I'm going to get with you this week. We got to hook up, and we got some more topics I need to bring you on, all right?
Thank you as always, brother, and I rule. Thank you.
All right. All right. Brother James, this has been a powerful show. This has been a powerful show, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna let you close out real quick, but let me ask you one question that I think I asked Brother Mosiah, and pretty much, what do we do as a community to start policing ourselves, to start getting new codes in order so we can correct the things in our community?
I think one of the most powerful things, man, is getting to know your neighbor. As so many people have called in, the one thing that is ring out, you know what I mean, amongst everything that people have said is that everybody feels as though they're an individual and they're left to their own devices. Their power in numbers. I mean, this has been proven, you know what I mean, from the beginning of time to now. There are power in numbers. Get out to know your neighbor. Even if you don't have to sit down, man, and have long conversations with them and so on and so forth. All you have to do is, hi, how you doing? How's your day? Blah, blah, blah. And keep it moving. Get to know your neighbor. Get that neighbor. Hey, man, such and such to live across the street. That's them. Hey, this is Joe. Blah, blah, blah. Introduce. Now they're saying hi. This person introduces to that person. This person introducing to that person. Now we're starting to get back to the way when we grew up, when your neighbor seen you come out. You know what I mean? They knew, they go, E, you know what I mean? He doing such and such again. They on the phone. They calling your father. They calling your mother. You know what I mean? Hey, E down here doing such and such, blah, blah, blah. But now it's just like, I don't see nothing. I don't say nothing, whatever. And that has pulled us further apart. And the further apart we are, the more we allow like this entity, you know what I mean, to come in and tear down. And like I said, it's one of the most easiest things to do, you know what I mean, in order to get to know somebody is simply just speak. Hi. Hello. Once you're able to establish that, you coming out of the corner store and somebody harass you, somebody beat you up or whatever. Hey man, you know what? That was I think that was E, man. You know what? That brother I, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, them cats ain't there. Now they feel the need to call because now they have a connection with you. Now they feel the need to call when they see somebody breaking into their neighbor's house. Now they see a need to call when they see their kid, like somebody's child being, you know what I mean, being taken advantage of. Because now you have a connection, and that connection is so easy to make. You know what I mean? By just simply saying hi. Start there. And then you can get into, you know what I mean, sports and politics and the weather and the rainbow and everything else. But at some point, man, we have to start speaking to each other instead of grilling each other, instead of mean mugging each other. You know, we find it so much easier to walk around with a frown on our face and to grit on each other and look each other up and down like, you know, how many people, you know what I mean, have gotten shot over the years because they looked at somebody a certain way. So then you think about how much life and love that could be spread through our community if you just smiled and said hello. You know what I mean? It worked. That same energy works both ways. Get to know your neighbors, man. Get to know your community, man. You know, invite people over. Hey, man, you know, we having a cookout. I mean, you know, make sure you stay 6 feet apart. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying, man.
Right, I'm with you.
But you know, the biggest thing, man, is you have, and if you want to bring the community together, then you have to actually go out and try to be a part of the community. You have to bring other people in, being a part of the community, because as caller after caller after caller has said, hey man, I feel like I'm by myself. Don't nobody care? Don't nobody care? Then each one of us has to care enough to at least say hi. Each one of us has to care enough to say, you know what, I'm tired of this. Like the last brother just said, I'm tired of this, man. We need to do something. We need to do something. We need to support the people that stand out on the corner that want to break up drug deals. We need to stand behind them and support them. When by support them, I don't, you know what I mean? You don't have to stand out there with them, support them. If you know that's your nephew, don't let your nephews live. They're like, nah, man, you can't live here no more. That's your grandchild. No, you can't. That's your son. That's your daughter. You can't live here anymore. It's more than one way to support that community activist if you don't want to.
Brother James, you was flowing, but I think we lost you. You still there?
Man. But you know what I mean? No one is advocating, you know what I mean, to help victims of crime that says, you know what, let us get you out of here. You know what I mean? So then we can show other people, hey man, you know what I mean? The more I give you an example before we go. Grew up in lived in Pioneer City for like about 10 years.
That's in Maryland. That's in Maryland, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in Severn.
Okay.
Everybody, man, when I tell them, oh man, I live in Pioneer City. Oh man, I can't believe, man, you know what I mean? Nothing but murder and killing and drug dealing going over there, man. All they do is shoot over there. All they do is shoot over there. First night I moved in, I heard gunshots. Called the police. A little bit later, you know what I mean? And it lessened, and it lessened, and it lessened. In about a year's time, when I was there, all of this stuff came to an end. And I was like, all right, so either all of these cats either moved, got locked up, or died. People like, oh, man, you live in Pioneer City, man, there's a bunch of killing. Ain't no killing going on over there, man. Oh, man, there's a bunch of drug dealing. I don't see no drug dealing going on over there. Oh, man, it's such and such. No, you see, that's the image that you had of this community before. You know what I mean? This community now is something different because they were able to eliminate that behavior. They were able to eliminate that type of, I mean, crime happens everywhere. Right. I'm most definitely not going to say that it only happens in our community because we're only about less than 15% of the population. So crime happens in this country greatly, in other communities much more. We are just charged with more crime than anybody else. But in order to remove that element, man, the first thing we have to do, man, is just come back together as a community, get to know your neighbor, man, and start caring. But the only way you can get somebody else to care is to show that you care.
Yeah, man, that was deep, man. Brother James, I got to thank you. Of course, we're going to be doing a bunch of more shows. You part of the Real Truth and Power family now. I don't know what happened with your video, but your audio was definitely there and powerful, man. Any other words you want to say to the family to close out?
Hey, man. Peace and love, man. Let's come together, man, in unity, man. Bring our money together, especially in a time like this with everybody, with a lot of these businesses that we've been trying to get out of our community for the longest time. Hey, man, let them go, man. Don't keep running out there supporting them, man. Let's get some black businesses up in that joker, man, and support them. Let's get some black beauty shops, man. Let's get some black nail salons. Let's get some black carryouts up in there, man. Let's get these people up out of our community and start doing for ourselves.
All right, my brother. I'm going to be talking to you soon. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. What up, my barakatuh. Peace, brother.
All right. That was James Richardson, my brother. He was co-hosting with me today. We had a powerful show. A lot of callers called in, and we really got it in on an important topic about the snitching, how we can end this issue in our community, which is very important. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, please, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, if you're on Facebook, I need you guys to hit that like and that share. We got to get this conversation out to the community. We got to get the information out. The analytics will help us if you like it. And if you share on the count of 3, if you haven't done it, please, 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you'll see that a little alert button. If you're on Facebook, please go to the YouTube channel because we're going to be putting on different videos on YouTube. You can do a lot more controversial topics on YouTube. So we're going to definitely be on YouTube. So please go to YouTube, hit our subscribe, the subscribe button, and then hit that alert button. It'll always alert you when we are live. And thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. The podcast is growing. Facebook, everything is growing, and that means that more people are caring about the community. They're caring about uplifting it, and that is very important to me, and that's why we started Real Truth and Power. So I want to say to everybody, hold up, and we will be live, I believe, Monday. Please tune in. I have a powerful show coming up. We have a sister. She's going to be talking about healthy eating. She has a business. She's a black-owned business, so we want to support her, and she's going to be talking about how we can eat healthy. And That's very important to us because of the foods that we eat that we've been raised up on. It's not actually healthy. So she's going to be talking about healthy living and eating, and that's going to be good as well. And hopefully, if everything goes good, I got a strong brother by the name of Casual Pitts down in Florida. He's going to be talking to us on a lot about business and everything. So once again, man, another show. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm just blessed to be a part of your family, and thank you for being a part of mine. All right? Peace and blessings. Keep that social distancing going, y'all. Keep that social distancing going. We almost through this thing, man. We almost through it. Hold tight. Thank you for tuning into the Real Truth and Power podcast. Real Truth and Power Live is provided to uplift the black community with health, wealth, and knowledge of self. Please again share this important information to our community as we try to grow economically, spiritually. Black power, one love.